Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicle, where I talk about my daily life, weekly goals, and the overarching plot of my life. Also, there is no Monday. Today is actually Tuesday. Yesterday was the first day of Give Up Week, which is going quite good. Yesterday didn't go quite as good as I wanted. It wasn't necessarily bad, but after work yesterday, I stopped by Aldi because I needed more protein bars for my lunch, and then I was like, I want to get some stuff to make Give Up Week more fun and enjoyable. So I did that, and then I actually forgot to get the protein bars. But it's fine because I have more protein bars that like aren't my primary protein bars. So those will last me for the week. I got some like frozen pizza and I got some like ice cream. Because like one thing I realized was that I almost always like make my own food. I actually rarely ever eat out on my own. Like I can't even remember the last time I ate out like by myself. Let me try and think real quick. Yeah, I can't remember. And also, yeah, I got some frozen pizza. I got some frozen breakfast pizza, which I'm gonna eat over the weekend. And I also got a chicken bacon ranch flatbread from Aldi. It was about $5.50. And I ate the whole thing today. It was really good, actually. I really liked it. Um, but yeah, so I was like, it'd be nice to just have some food that I could just, pop in the oven real quick, and then boom, there's your food. Whoops. Um, So yeah, that was good. I'm also got protein ice cream, 1 pint of it. There's 30 grams in the whole pint, 30 grams of protein. I haven't tried it yet, but I was like, could be cool, could be fun. I doubt I'll be, buying more of it, but I think it's a fun thing to try. Also, I just realized my bed isn't made. Whoopsies, it's probably fine. Yeah, I've just been playing games all day. I played a mission of Helldivers, and then was it? No, 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 no. I got back, ate the flatbread, watched Adventure Time. I finished watching all of Adventure Time today. That was a lot of fun. There is a spin off series of four 45-minute episodes that I will be watching. And there's also a Fiona and Cake spin off. I'll be watching that as well. And then after that, I will, I think, watch some. I think I'm going to get a Crunchyroll subscription and watch some anime. Um, yeah, and then also I took a melatonin last night because despite being like dead tired on like Saturday and or Sunday, I couldn't sleep, which was weird. So I was like, all right, whatever, melatonin. And then also I woke up late a little bit. I woke up at like 8:15, and I was like, what time am I supposed to go in again? 8:30. I did still get to work a little bit late because I slept for like 15 minutes longer than I was supposed to, but it was good that I woke up and got there relatively on time. Anyway, so I got home from work, had the chicken bacon ranch flatbread, finished Adventure Time, played a mission Helldivers, uh, played a mission Helldivers. I think I got on Minecraft for a little bit. Yeah, then I got on Minecraft for a little bit. That was good. And a friend was gonna join tonight. They were like, "I'll be on later tonight," and they weren't, which is weird, I guess. I won't press them about it. I'm sure they're busy or something. Um, So then I played Minecraft and I recorded an episode of Raven's Watch and Absalom, which is on the channel now. Absalom is so much fun, dude. I'm not saying Raven's Watch is unfun, but compared to all the other games I'm playing right now, it is simply less fun. It's still fun, just less fun than all the other series that I have right now. Which isn't, bad. It's just that it kind of feels like I have to get through it. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta like trudge through the less fun game to play the more fun games. Because Absalom is so much fun, dude. Um, and then now I'm here. It's 11:26. Finishing up a little bit later than I thought. I think I wanted to sleep enough during Give Up Week, which is why I took that melatonin last night because I was like, I want to make sure that I get enough sleep and that I'm enjoying, Give Up Week as much as I can. Um, so yeah, I'm pretty much right on time to go to bed now. So see you tomorrow, Wednesday. Woohoo! Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Chronicle. Today, after work, I came home. Or, no, no, I got gas, and then I came home, and I ate some snacks just to, like, hold me over, um, until I had, like, a real dinner. Um, and then I played Helldivers for a little bit. That was a lot of fun, as I have stated recently. There is a tank in the game. It is a lot of fun. It is very powerful, but it requires two players to use because one person has to drive the tank and the other person has to shoot the tank. Like shoot out of it. So every now and then, like rarely, I will find another player who uses the tank. So I got to shoot the tank, and the other person drove it, so that was a lot of fun. Um, After that, I was hungry again, and I was kind of tired. And remember how I talked about getting frozen pizza to make this week more enjoyable? My mom happened to deliver, well, quote unquote deliver. She just had some like extra groceries, and she gave them to me when she visited earlier in the week. And I had a frozen pizza, so I ate the whole thing. It wasn't very big. It wasn't like the big kind. It was like it was like I don't know. It was a small pizza, I'd say. Not personal pizza size small, but it was a small pizza. So I ate the whole thing. I watched another episode of Pluto. I don't think I've mentioned that yet this week, but Pluto is an anime based off of Astro Boy. Or sorry, I should say it's inspired by Astro Boy, um, which I think is originally a comic. I only knew of it from the movie that came out a while ago. I remember loving that way back when it came out. And I saw Pluto on Netflix like way back when, and I was like, I didn't like love the way the animation style was when I first saw it, and I was like, like our episodes, I was like, I wasn't really feeling it, but it said inspired by Astro Boy, and I was like, well, I like Astro Boy. So was I instantly fell in love with it like after watching like the first episode. The last time I actually watched it was during the first Give Up week. I haven't watched it since. So I'm watching that again this week, and it is still so good. So I watched an episode of that, and I had the frozen pizza, and now I'm here. I think I kind of practice my instruments, just so I wouldn't look like a fool when I show up on lessons tomorrow. Um, anyway, I think that's everything. I felt like a little bit lost and kind of tired, and I was like, well, it's okay to feel these feelings right now because, well, it's okay to feel them in general, technically. But I was like, it's especially more okay right now because I don't really have anything that's like any pressing things to do, which is kind of the whole point of Give Up Week is to like kind of relax and have fun. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll just like scroll for 15 minutes. Maybe I'll just lay down. It's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Um, and I think, yeah, that's kind of all I did today. I'm trying to think. Played Helldivers, took a shower. I tried playing Slay the Spire 2 with Bicycle again, but I texted him. He didn't respond. He was playing a game, so that's fair. Like when I texted him, he was playing a different game, so maybe he just didn't see it. Um, and then when he responded, I was in the shower, so I didn't respond to him until 20 minutes later, and then he never responded to my response. So that kind of sucks, but it's fine. I think that's it. I think that's it. I'm going to bed on time. I think we're all good. And ready for tomorrow. I also recorded an episode of RoboQuest. That was a lot of fun. I do like that game. That's what it. I know I did something. Yeah. And yeah, that's on the channel. Yeah. I kind of wanted to keep talking about it, but I'm like, I'm right at the 4 minute mark. Might as well cut it off. Anyway, see you all tomorrow, Thursday. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chronicle. And by the Chronicle, I mean Thursday. So today after work, I went straight to lessons. Actually, before work, I went to the doctor's. Talk about that later in the week because I got to keep the day short. And then after work, after the doctor's, I went to work. After work, I went to lessons, and then I got to lessons about 20 minutes early, because that's what usually happens. Um, and I was hungry. I was so hungry, and I had plans afterward. I was like, okay, I need food. But I was like, okay, I want Subway. I want to go to the Subway that's down the street from work. And I was like, ooh, it's gonna take like 10 minutes just to get to that Subway. And also, traffic's bad right now because it's 5 o'clock, right when I get off, right? Um, so I'm like, okay, I'll just find something along the way, on the way to lessons, to music lessons. I'll find something along the way. I get to music lessons, I don't find anything. I look in the GPS, food nearby, fast food. There's a Jimmy John's, like literally on the same block as my music lessons, 6 minute walk. I'm like, perfect. I go there. I get a number two meal. It's great. I eat it so quick, my jaw hurts afterward because I was chewing so hard and fast. My jaw is sore from eating that sandwich so quickly, so rapidly, right? So thoroughly, so hastily, right? Um, Sandwich is good. I'm pretty sure I'm full at that point, so I don't eat the chips. I do have some of the Sprite though, quite good. Oh my gosh. And then I go to lessons, and lessons are good. And then after lessons, I go to my friend's kickball game. So I don't know if I've talked about this yet, but I may or may not have made a new friend recently. But as you guys know, I warm up to people very slowly, and I'm very slow to consider them my friend. So I don't know if I want to call them my friend yet. But they said they want to be friends, and I was like, sure. Um, so I guess we're friends now. But like I said, I will make it official when I give them a nickname, which I already have one in mind. I just need to, kind of pull the trigger on whether I want to consider us friends or not. Like I said, we technically are. Um, so yeah. Anyway, after lessons, I went to that friend's kickball game. They play in a kickball league, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. It seemed very casual, and I could tell because when I got there, let me tell you, most of the players were either drinking and or smoking weed and or cigarettes. My friend had a beer, another drink after that. They hit a joint before the game, and then they were drinking during the game, and then after the game, they also had a cigarette. So that's cool. Very cool casual league. I mean, one of the dudes, some of them were playing with drinks in their hands, literally. One had like a cigarette or a joint or something in his mouth while he was playing too. I was like, okay, I didn't know that that's how we do it here, but that's cool, I guess. So I went to that. That was a lot of fun. I stuck around there until like so was it the time my friend sent me was 8:30. That's when the game that they were playing in started. But they said they're gonna bring their friend and they're gonna go early. So because their friend was new to the game or new to like the league and they were gonna play in the league because for the first time. So they were gonna get there early, like a couple hours early. And then I get there about 1 hour early. When I walk around, I don't find them. I text them. I'm like, "Hey, are you here?" And right when I text them, after several minutes of wandering around, they're like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm here late because I was gonna pick up another friend, but they just didn't like they weren't there. They didn't answer the calls or texts." I'm like, "Okay, that's kind of weird." But that friend had a car, or that other friend had a car, so they showed up. Anyway, um, so yeah, so like right when I texted them, they showed up, and I was like, "Oh, cool." So then we just hung out. We watched the game that took place before the game that they were playing in, and then they played their game, and I watched. It was a lot of fun. They did not win, unfortunately. They got totally smoked and rolled. It was like 17-4. But most of the players on their team were very, very new to the kickball league. So I think that's kind of why they got totally slammed. And then also the guys they were playing against were like really good. So yeah, but it was fun being there. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun being there. Fun being with a friend. I do this thing where it's like I kind of just like being. I'm not the most chatty. Like sometimes, even to my friends and even in person, I'm not the most chatty. I'll kind of just sit next to my friend, and that's fine for me. That's like I feel perfectly happy and satisfied doing that. So that's kind of what I was doing. Like, and when they would move around, I would just be like in companion mode, like literally just like right here next to them. So like if they would move, I would move. You know what I'm saying? Because like I ain't socializing. Um, but yeah, so I'm back from that, and then I played Mission Helldivers, and I wanted to practice piano, but I was like, oh, it's so late. I really should have showered. Is what I should have done. Gosh darn it, man. My acne is getting a little bit worse. So I'm like, I think I need to shower every day now to try and keep that under control. Anyway, that's all for today, and I will see you all tomorrow, Friday. Also, I don't know why my hair just for like this instance of my hair looks kind of good. I was thinking about cutting it. Ooh. Anyway, see you tomorrow, Friday. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sunday. Back to the Chronicle. There is no Saturday. I'll talk about that later. And also, as you can see, things are a little different today. So I wasn't sure if I would actually do it, but remember how I've been talking about the farm tris in Minecraft? The combination farm and fortress in my coworker's Minecraft realm. I think I remember saying that when it was done, I would show it off. And actually, let me double check my mic one time, just because I have to. Okay. So yeah, this is it. Hold on, this is actually not the part of it. My coworker put this here, and I was like, why is this here? And she was like, oh, how'd that happen? It's fine. Anyway, so yeah, this is the farm tris combination farm and fortress. If I'm being honest, it looks a bit more farm than fortress, and I noticed that kind of early on while building it, and that's okay. Honestly, I really like how it turned out. I think this is like probably the biggest, best, and coolest thing I've ever built in Minecraft. And this is in survival as well. So it's all natural. So I started off with this cobblestone base. I was like, I want it to be slightly elevated, cobblestone base, make it real tough looking. And then I started with these fences here because I was like, okay, I need you to be able to see outside, because like I said, I was going for fortress, kind of originally. So I had these fences here and I was like, okay, that's good. And then I had these, they used to be like strips kind of along the bottom, and then I turned them into like big windows essentially eventually. But yeah, so it kind of just looks like a big kind of house farm, which I'm okay with. Like I said, I really like it. Starting with the outside, yeah, big stone base. I've got this awning here. When I was making it, I was like, I want it to be birch with accents of oak, and that's kind of just like, that was just what I envisioned when I thought about it. And I really like it, because the birch is like almost kind of yellow. I think is why I always liked birch in this game. It was my favorite. So I went with that. So I've got, the oak awning, birch, planks, oak logs on the stone base, awning here, awning at the top there, big platform up there. And I think, yeah, this is the exterior. We've got these windows here. You can see into the second floor there and the third floor up there. I usually tie my horse to the front here. Oh yeah, and there's like a couple holes from where creepers have blown it up. This little guy, he's a copper golem that, they're made of copper, so they oxidize. And, I built one just for fun, and then he ended up turning into a statue, because apparently that's what they do. So I left him here. He's kind of cool. These are just chests for, like, my stuff. Anyway, when we go inside, this area here, this is kind of just, like, necessities. This is just kind of stuff I set up at first. But when you walk in, you can see we've got carrots here on the left, potatoes here on the right. You can see I've got chests for them here. They're not full, but the plan is to have, eventually, if this were to stick around forever and ever, I would have, double chests, and then I can fit, I think, up to, like, yeah, 4 more double chests up there if I had to. And they're all just full of carrots growing here. Lily pads so you can walk over them. And then I wanted, space to walk, like, all the way around. Coincidentally, actually, there's exactly 20, kind of blocks here. Like, this fit perfectly inside what I built. Because, like, whenever I was building the cobblestone base, I was like, oh, I want it to be big. I don't know how big, but I want it to be big, comfortable, big enough. And for a house, this is quite big. Like, the roof is 7 tiles up, which is like your maximum reach height. So for a house, this is actually really big. I was like, okay, I think I want a nice even number of like 20. And then I started planting, and I was like, oh crap, I don't know if I actually have 20 tiles. I don't know if, there's going to be enough, but perfectly, there's 20 with enough room to walk around, because I didn't want them like right up against the wall. And then lily pads so you can walk over them. And then there's water coming from the ceiling. You'll see the top of it later. I've got torches here, windows to let the light in. This is, like I said, this is necessities. It's just like extra food, materials, furnaces, and crafting tables. So this is the first floor when you walk in. I also added these glowberries recently for light. The ceiling is actually, all of the ceilings are made of slabs. I did this to save on resources and time. It kind of bit me in the butt later because, you see, these glowberries can't grow on slabs. They have to grow on regular blocks, which is why that sticks out a little bit. But it's honestly not as ugly as I thought it would be. And actually, these little holes here, remember I was thinking like, oh, I want this to be a fortress. Originally, I had like trap doors here so you could open them and then hit any mobs or monsters that are outside. But whenever you would flick the door down, the monsters could still actually hit you. Like skeletons could shoot through here. Creepers would explode if they saw you. And this little hole, this is actually a staircase I placed upside down. This little hole, it's much harder for the mobs to hit you through here. Creepers, they will still explode if they walk right up here, but it's super easy to break their line of sight just by stepping over. So you can still hit them out there. Like, I could punch my horse if I wanted to, but I won't. So this is the first floor. Also, I was a little conflicted. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out what to do for, like, essentially the verticality. I was like, how am I going to go from one floor to the next? I think ideally what I wanted was, I want a staircase that's thin and kind of long. It would be, but I felt like it would look, that would look weird in the center, and it would just go straight double back, all the way. That way it's quick and easy. So for a while, I had a spiral staircase that went all around this large central pillar, and then I was like, wait a minute. I don't know. I'll tell you guys, if you can't figure it out, this is a tree. This is one gigantic tree that goes all the way down to the bottom floor, all the way up to the top floor. and it's got vines on it, and that's how you get up and down the floors. Floor 2, I really like. I really like floor 2 a lot. As you can see, we've got all these crops growing up here. We've got melons and pumpkins. So these are like all the, you know, the plants that have like stalks that they attach to, see, like this. So yeah, I've got melons and pumpkins up here. I did bone meal the floor a little bit, just to add some nice grass. And then these are actually firefly bushes. They provide a little bit of light, and I think they're really pretty. And this right here, I knew I wanted a large open kind of arc idea. So originally I just had, it was actually just an arc, right? It was just a big open kind of arc like this without these fences here. But I was like, I need more fences, right? I need this to look more structurally sound than kind of just like an arc punched out of the middle. And I don't know why. I really like these fences here along the top. So I went with this kind of arc. You know, it's not quite as big, but it is still this nice arc that I like here. So you can like walk out here and you can see over the fences here. And I've got like, you can see slabs here. And then those fences up there. I really like this. I'm very proud of this build, honestly. I love it. I've got more glowberries for light, just for fun. Again, lily pads so you can walk over. And then the water still goes to the top. I really wanted that theme of like the water flowing all the way from the bottom to the top. And that's kind of, you see all these floating dots, these are the fireflies. That's kind of all for this floor. I really like this one. Oh yeah, and you can see I've got melons and pumpkin chests there. Like I said, I could stack them even taller if I wanted. And then here's the third floor. This one might be my favorite. So this one was kind of the hardest for me to work out conceptually. I chose wheat to go up here on both sides, mainly because I don't think there's actually a single other crop you can plant that I don't have in the Farmtress. One thing I wanted in the farm was literally every single type of food you can grow. And currently it has literally every single type of food you can grow except for mushrooms. I'm going to build a additional basement level that I haven't built yet. And actually, before we go to the... Actually, no. I was going to do the basement first. We'll do the top first. So yeah, glowberries. I've got glowberries up here. And the way you actually farm these is you let them grow really long like this. And then you just kind of break all of them down, just like this. And I didn't actually know that until I looked at the wiki and I learned about how they grow. And I was like, oh, so you're just supposed to let them grow and then break them and then do that over and over, and that's how you farm them. So, you know, they're not the best, you know, source of food, but, like, that's fine. There's like, so many different kinds of food in this game that, like, you hardly ever actually eat because it's not, like, you know, efficient. And glowberries is one of them. Originally, I was just like, I think I'm going to have this, you know, you see this pattern here where it's like one, the other, one, the other, one, the other. I was originally going to have that pattern just going clean across the top here. You can see that here as well. And then I was like, well, I want this big tree in the middle. So, and this big tree, it was actually a late addition. I didn't add this tree until I got to the third floor. Because there was like cocoa beans. I was like, I need cocoa beans in my farm. I don't want to have just one single tree outside the farm. I want to have it incorporated into the farm. So now, it's this fully grown, gigantic tree in the middle of the farm. And this vine specifically I used to climb up here. I have this hole in the top here so I can get to the roof. I was doing a little bit of construction. Honestly, I never remembered to fix it. Anyway, here you can see the rest of my coworker stuff, all they built. But yeah, so back to the farm. Originally, I was just gonna have this strip of dirt going across the top so that you could, you know, so that the glowberries would go across the top, because I don't love the concept of them, you know, kind of curtaining off the entire top row, but at the same time it is really cool. It feels kind of cozy, mystical, whimsical. Actually, what I could do is you can actually prune the vines so that they stop growing, so I could prune them in a specific curtain pattern, and I have thought about that, and I might do that eventually, but for now they're just growing as a source of more food. And again, I chose wheat for the double up here because I ran out of things to plant, and you need a bit more wheat than other like vegetables to eat. So for example, carrots, you can eat carrots straight up just by themselves like this. Potatoes, you have to cook those first. Sweet berries, you can eat raw. I guess technically beetroot would be the better option to grow two of, because for some reason it is incredibly expensive to make beetroot soup. I think it takes like 6 and you get 1. So technically beetroot should be up here, but beetroot kind of sucks like that. And I'm like, okay, Also, the wheat is super pretty up here, if I'm being honest. I just like the way it looks. So yeah, this third floor was the hardest for me because I was like, I don't know what I want to do here. Like I said, this was a late stage addition, but I do have cocoa beans growing up there. That's what that is. So I've got cocoa beans, wheat. That's a phantom. Gosh darn it. Um, so I've got cocoa beans, wheat, and glowberries all on one floor. So I think this is the most stuff I have growing on one floor technically, because this has 3 things as opposed to the usual 2. So yeah, and I wanted this top layer to be bigger. I want it to be bigger, feel open. I want it to be, honestly, amazing. I want it to be, like, awe-inspiring. And that guy's stuck there now, isn't he? That's fine. So yeah, so you've got this slightly extended platform. I did want it to be a bit bigger, but I knew that if I made this platform bigger at the top, it would look a bit more ugly. And also I did cut in the corners slightly, and I know you could see the supports. I put in some cosmetic supports under this layer, and you could see those when you're outside. Hello. Okay, phantoms. Did something just shoot at me? Okay. Anyway, yeah, so I wanted this to be big. I want it to be fenced in so you can, like, kind of just look over. You can admire the world. And I wanted this big open top here. I've got some fencing there. Again, it's almost like an arc thing that I like. And then I've got the glowberries growing. They provide light. They're very pretty. And yeah, that's the third floor. I like this. I've still got the oak frame up here. One thing I don't have is I forgot to put the lily pads here. That's fine. It's low-key prettier without the lily pads. Like see down there. But yeah, so this is where the water stops, and also stops at the bottom, of course. Or it starts here and stops at the bottom. But yeah, so this is the third floor. I think I've got just about everything I want up here. Actually, yeah, one thing I couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure out where to put the chests for the food that's growing up here. I was thinking about maybe putting it on top of the tree. But I was like, I think that would be kind of ugly. Like, I could smack some of these vines away, right? And then just kind of, I don't know, maybe, like, put them here. Just, like, right there and right there. But I feel like that would be a little bit inefficient. And as you guys know, I'm a freak for efficiency. So, currently, all the stuff that grows up here is just in one chest above the door on the first level. Because, yeah, I couldn't figure out somewhere to put the chests that also made sense. I was thinking maybe here. Maybe I could put a little platform here. Or maybe like in the corner, just for you know, chests, and I could have a vine that hangs down all the way, like this one does. Just so you can climb up there and then store the food in there. And also, friendly mobs spawn up here. Pigs spawn up here. I saw a sheep up here earlier. So this place is actually so big that like friendly creatures can spawn up here, which is kind of cool. Because like I was like, that makes sense actually. I hadn't thought about having livestock in the farmtress. But it makes sense to have that in the farm, you know? If it really is a farm. You know, it should have livestock. Anyway, so that's the third floor. Again, maybe my favorite. Like I said, I like floor 2. Floor 3 is really cool too. Floor 1's okay. You can kind of see, like, it makes sense. Like I said, you see here, shelves, chests, shelves, chests. But if I want this open concept, I can't have the shelves and the chests here. So that's okay. Like I said, I keep the food that grows there in this chest here. And now to the basement. So here I've got sweet berries and beetroot growing. Technically, sweet berries don't actually need like plowed land or even water nearby. Sweet berries might be my favorite crop in the game because they grow super quick. They're super easy to farm. I've also got a potion stand and nether wart here. Like I said, I am going to build an additional basement level that I hadn't thought of when I made the whole plan for this in my head. But I was like, yeah, I need a basement level for mushrooms and for nether wart, for like potions. So here we've got beetroot. I don't harvest this stuff very much because, like I said, the ratio is just terrible for beetroot to actual consumable food. So we've got the beetroot, sweet berries, and I've got this little pool of water at the base. This is here kind of technically for safety reasons, because it is possible to fall down here. If you stand on the corners, the vines don't technically touch there. So the water's there for safety. And also, whenever I first grew the tree, there was only vines on the front and back, and me and a coworker did die because we kind of forgot and didn't notice that the vines are only on the front and back because I had to harvest those from other trees. So I put the water here for safety reasons. And yeah, you can see the water continuing down. You can see the glowberries. We've got those. The walls are, I believe this is, I think, polished diorite or diorite, however you want to pronounce it. Whoop, that's my room. Yeah, polished diorite. Whenever I first thought of this whole plan, the Farmtress, I was heavily inspired by Fallout, the TV series, which was, of course, made from the game. And when I saw the Fallout TV series, they had bunkers, right? And I was like, oh, I kind of want to build a bunker. And in their bunker, they had a simulated sky and a simulated sun. And I was thinking originally, I was like, oh, I'll put, because you can make colored concrete in this game. I was like, oh, I'll do light blue colored concrete with white colored concrete up here. That way it simulates a sky with clouds. And I could maybe do like some orange and like make a sun there. That, however, I'm pretty sure is fairly expensive and annoying to make. So I was like, oh, this polished diorite, it's fairly close, you know, it's white, so it doesn't feel like the place is like, it makes it feel kind of bunker, kind of secure, and also a bit brighter, you know, so it doesn't make you feel like you're in a hole. And also I've got the grass growing down here. The grass was super hard to get in here. Though on the first floor it was fine. On the second, third, and the basement, the grass, of course, wasn't growing. So I had to transport a couple of grass blocks to help that spread. I've also got composting bins. I should probably technically have these on every floor, because you can just put any kind of organic material in here. But honestly, I don't use them very often, so I don't have them on every floor. But yeah, so this is the basement. We got those. We got the diorite. We've got the river, you know, the water flowing. And then we've got the barracks. Like I said, this was supposed to also be a fortress. So we've got the barracks here. So here I've got beds, enough for, technically not everyone to sleep in. Like, there's so many of us on here, more than 6. But at the time I made this, I think we only had like 6. So I've also got these awesome little lamps in the wall here. 6 beds, so, you know, a lot of people could sleep in here. This is, I've got armor stands here. I only put, perfect armor in here. What I mean is that armor with full durability. If it's full durability, I put it on the armor stands. I probably should have more of these things. I keep all the imperfect armor, or just the armor that I don't technically have room to put on a stand for, in here. Here we got helmets, chest plates, pants, boots. Up here I've got just weapons. I don't know, some people put some junk in here. I don't know who it was. I've got, these are some treasure tools I found. Bunch of arrows, horse armor, you know, weapons. Here are monster parts, so if you're out fighting, you can just dump all your monster parts in here, because they're useful. And you can see I've got crafting stations, crafting table, loom, smithing table, grindstone. Yeah, and I wanted the diorite in here because I like diorite. I like how it looks. It's white, it's pretty. And I also hit there was a huge vein of diorite right around here when I was digging this place out. So that was really helpful in building this. And then amidst digging out this entire basement, because this part is completely underground, this room, and that room, completely underground. And I ended up with a lot of, I believe this is granite, I want to say. Yeah, polished granite. I ended up with a lot of granite when I was digging all this out. And I was like, okay, let's make the entire barracks out of granite. So that's what I did. Like I said, these are slabs. It was fairly, you know, quick and easy. All I did was dig the place out and then throw it all in with granite. In my head, originally, I was like, I could probably do wood. It would make sense to have, you know, an underground wood with, like, wood planks, similar to how you'll see in my room. But I was like, I just have so much granite. I'll just do the whole thing out of granite. So now the whole thing is out of granite, and then this wall is, of course, technically this wall. So that's why this is diorite. Yeah, so you've got beds for sleeping, lamps because they're cool, chests full of all the materials, crafting stations over here, armor stands with extra armor. You know, so it's like a little barracks. You can arm yourself, you can sleep, there's food over here. That's the barracks. And there's also Asher's private quarters, no entry, so I put this banner on it. I don't know if anyone's actually going to respect that. I would assume they wouldn't just because it's cool to see. But so essentially, my room was going to be fairly simple, actually, right? So of course, it's got this whole thing where it says private quarters, no entry, right? Because if this is the fortress, you know, I would be like the commander of it, you know, as the person that built it, the person that farmed it, cultivated it, right? So you would think that I have like super special fancy quarters, right? But then the plan was to have very simple quarters. I would just have like a carpet. Probably the fanciest thing would be a carpet just covering the whole floor. And then the walls were just going to be wood, you know, birch wood, similar to how we have up here. And it would just be a nice little private area. And at one point in my coworker built an aquarium in his wall. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And he said he cheated, technically. He used commands or whatever to spawn fish in his aquarium. And his was in the wall. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool if my private quarters had an aquarium. Because I know in Monster Hunter World, another video game, your private quarters has a fish tank in it. And if you get to the even like special private quarters, you know, the more fancy ones, you actually have a whole pond. And I was like, that kind of inspired me, oh, I want a fish tank in my private quarters. So what I did was I made the entire floor a fish tank. This was incredibly hard to do in survival. So this is all glass, so it's fairly expensive. As you can see, sand. So I had to dig out not only the because this, like I said, this is underground. So I had to dig out the whole room, had to dig out the floor, had to dig out the walls, replace them with sand. This is the wall to the barracks. I thought about maybe bringing the wall in a bit, and then having like this, because take a look at this. So you've got birch planks, oak accent. Originally, that was supposed to go all the way around the inside, same with the barracks, and then I was like, I've got resources, I've got all this granite, might as well use it, you know, I've got all this diorite, might as well use it. But this was kind of the original intention, just because this is what I wanted, but this was convenient and efficient. And like I said, this is a huge project, probably the biggest build I've ever done, and I wanted to get it done before actually like adventuring out and stuff. And also, yeah, I put this banner here because it's supposed to be like a do not enter sign. As you can see, it's the X. That's why it says no entry. So yeah, this was like the simplistic kind of vibe that I wanted for this room and that room. I'm not upset that I didn't use it. I've still got, you know, most of it here. But yeah, so we've got this, the birch with the oak accent, fish tank floor. Like I said, really hard to do in survival because you've got the glass, the water, the fish. I've got coral under there too. I literally went to the ocean and I just dug up a bunch of stuff. I took some coral, I took some seagrass, took some sea pickles. I straight up there's exactly 6 fish in here because I took 6 buckets, and you can carry fish in buckets in this game. So I picked out some fish that look good, and then I put them in here. And this is my private quarters. It's pretty empty at the moment. Like I said, I've just got a bed, torches, crafting table, and then I've got some stuff in here as well. That's fairly valuable to me in the game. And this is my private quarters. And I believe that concludes the tour of the Farmtress, the combination farm and fortress. Is it still nighttime? Okay, it's daytime. Yeah, so we'll take one more look outside. Hopefully there's no monsters to kill me. But yeah, there it is. You can see there's the cosmetic supports I was talking about earlier. It was fairly hard to put those up there because I had to climb up scaffolding and then, like, you know, attach them from the bottom. But yeah, that's it. I'm very proud of it. I'm just so happy, you know, that I made it and that I did it. I followed through on pretty much every design choice that I had. And I'm glad about that. This floor, not the most complex. I wish it were a little bit nicer, but it's okay. This floor, I love the second floor. I love the third floor. Yeah, see, look, there's a cow up here. The cow just spawned up here. He wasn't here before. But yeah, I love the open top. You know, it just, I don't know, it feels real to me. One of my favorite things about video games in general is immersion. And I wanted to build this place with a sense of realism. I wanted to build this place with a sense of this could really exist. You know what I'm saying? That's why you've got the log corners. That's why I have more fencing in here. Because I feel like it's, you know, it's a bit more structural. You see, I've got fencing here as well. And that's why there's a zombie here, man. Get out of here. Go away. That's why I wanted to put in things like these supports right here, right? I wanted to feel like it could really exist, and I feel like it could really exist, the Farmtress. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the huge tree in the middle, you know, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but you know, it's a video game after all. You know, you've got to suspend your disbelief a little bit. But yeah, that's everything. That's what I wanted to show off. Makes me very happy, and I'm very proud of it. Yeah, that's the Farmtress. Behold. Okay, anyway, I will close this out real quick. Let me do a little bit of this action. Gonna do this. Ooh. Hey guys, how's it going? See if I can quit my game real quick. Close it out. And back to regularly scheduled programming. Oh my gosh. That took a bit longer than I wanted to, but it's okay. Also, here. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, but I want to write this out just for fun. The last give up week, there technically was a goal. Hold on, let me write this a little better. Okay. Yeah, the goal is give up. Let me put a check on that. Because that's technically the goal for this week. Actually, I should say give up again. Actually, I'm going to write that again. Again. There we go. Give up again. done because, as you guys know, this is give up week. There's not like as many days as a usual week, and I'll explain that later. Because like we only had like Tuesday, Wednesday, I think Thursday, and then today, which is Sunday. We missed Friday, Saturday, and Monday. And I was actually thinking about not doing a daily weekly report at all this week, and I was thinking about just doing one on the end of the week on Sunday. But I was like, I like doing the daily, but it's not the end of the world. I'm not upset whenever I miss days. It happens. I mean, like way back when the Chronicles started, uh, these would be uploaded late on Monday sometime. Anyway, I gotta get my head out of Minecraft and back to the real world. Um, yeah, welcome to Sunday. That was the Farmtress. Thank you all for looking at that. Um, that's pretty cool. I like that. Today, well, I guess we'll start with today's events, and then we'll get to the skipped days once we go over the journal. Today, what did I do today? I woke up, uh, kind of from last night. Talk about last night later. But I woke up after maybe 10 hours of sleep. I don't know. And I had was it when I opened up Discord to clear a few notifications, I saw my coworker was in the Minecraft server, and I was like, okay, she's probably she probably did the thing she did last time, where I hopped in the server and said hi, and then she was like, oh, I forgot I was in here, so she was in there overnight. Not that it like matters or means anything. It just means she was in the call and forgot to leave it. So I said hi to her, and then I hopped on Minecraft, and then I did some more building. Um, yeah, I don't know if I mentioned though, my room was the very last thing to be built in the Farmtress. Anyway, so I said hi to her, hopped on the game, and then I made a smoothie. It was good. I drank all of it. I've also just been really hungry today, and I think like maybe yesterday as well. It feels like I just haven't been able to eat enough food, as in like I literally have not had enough food to eat. I know that's a lie. I always have plenty of food in my place for me. Um, it's just I don't know. I feel like I've been eating way more than usual lately, which is not bad. I don't have any bad relationship with food. I know that you're supposed to eat food, and it's good to eat food. It's good when I eat food. But I feel like I've just been kind of hungry the last couple of days, so I might stay up late and eat something after this. Yeah, I woke up late, so I did lose a couple hours in my day, which is fine. But it feels like, oh my gosh, I've already got to go back to work tomorrow after such a fun give up week. I also thought about maybe doing another give up week next week. I probably won't, but I was like, man, I just feel like I'm after like not getting accepted into UMKC. I'm just a little out of it on the overarching plot of my life in the grand scheme of things, and I know that after doing like the first give up week, by the end of that, I kind of felt like my head was cleared. Um, so I am considering doing another give up week, just to maybe to really clear my head because I didn't quite get that cleared head feeling this week, because it was a little bit different than the first give up week. I don't know. I don't think I was technically busier, um, but yeah, I think it wasn't as good as the first give up week. So not that it's a problem. It's fine. Anyway, today, yep, I had the smoothie. And then I got groceries. I played some more Minecraft after the smoothie. And then I got groceries, and then I came back here, and I grabbed my laundry, and then me and Ink did laundry at Dad's. And now we're back here to where I am recording the Chronicle. This. I think that's all of today's events. The goals, they're all on pause, because they get paused for give up week. So I'll put a pause on all of them. Let me do this to remember that. So I didn't work on any of them. I didn't do my dailies. That's fine. That's what happens during give up week. So there's nothing to talk about with the goals. So I guess we can talk about the journal, because I feel like a thing or two happened this week for sure. I also should have gotten water. Oof. Also, for some reason, my shoulder feels weird. I don't know why. Yeah. Let's see here. Journal. I did not miss my journal entries, technically. You'll see what I mean. Doo-doo-doo. Monday. After work today, I played a mission of Helldivers, chatted with Mom, was it moved a piano in, and took a shower, and then watched an episode of Pluto. The quote is, I wanted to have more fun, and then also I got treats. Because, I got some ice cream, I got some frozen food. Very good, very good. Um, yeah, that's it on Monday. I did get a new piano technically. Um, so let's take a quick brief look into the pianos I've had over my life. Way back when I started playing piano when I was 7, I was playing on a really old, out of tune acoustic piano that my mom and dad had before they split. I played on that and for a while, and then I started taking lessons. I started really getting a little bit better, and then we got a full size piano keyboard. I played on that for a while, and then I think what happened was mom and dad split. Dad took the keyboard, mom kept the house and the acoustic piano, and then mom ended up moving. We couldn't take the piano with us, so then we got a. It was another full size piano keyboard, but it was brown, right? So we got a brown full size piano keyboard, and it looked like a more traditional piano where it was kind of like one thing that was kind of standing up. The first piano keyboard had just this X brace that it would sit on top of. Um, so then dad had the X brace piano keyboard, and mom had the standard looking piano keyboard. And then at one point, the old piano keyboard died, and then somehow dad ended up with the brown traditional looking piano keyboard, and mom got another full size piano keyboard that looked like it looked in between the traditional and the X brace piano keyboard. It had a little stand, these two kind of big legs, and it was black, and it would kind of sit on top of that. So mom had that one, and dad had the brown one, and then yeah, and then at one point I moved out. I of course need a piano, so I take the brown piano keyboard that went with me to my last apartment and this apartment, but that's years old at this point. And it had a problem. Key, the C3 key. I've mentioned this before. The C3 key only worked about half the time, which might sound like it's no big deal, but it really was a big deal. Because sometimes you would just hit it and it just wouldn't sound, and it totally killed the vibe. For lack of a better word. But so yeah, it was worth replacing. So mom's moving again, and she's like, "Hey buddy, do you want the piano?" And I was like, "Sure." So we just curbed the old brown keyboard, the old brown standard looking traditional piano keyboard, and now I've got the black piano keyboard that kind of looks somewhat traditional. So that's what on Monday, mom brought me that keyboard, and now that's what I have. So that's good. I did that on Monday. Also, I have not finished Pluto yet. I kind of wanted to low key. Um, yeah, that's fine. Um, yeah, I think I've seen like two more episodes. Um, and then yeah, Tuesday after work today, I had a chicken bacon ranch flatbread and finished Adventure Time. I also played Helldivers, Minecraft, Raven's Watch, and Absalom, and had an ice cream bar. And then the quote is from Adventure Time, the song that plays in the end. You and I will always be back then. Is that quote? Yeah, that was Tuesday. I really liked that chicken bacon ranch flatbread. I think it was like $5.50, and I ate the whole thing, and it was really good. Um, Wednesday, I think, yeah, that's kind of all for Tuesday. I did do two gaming episodes on Tuesday, because I wanted to, uh, I wanted to play Absalom, but I was like, well, I've got to play Raven's Watch first. What I want to do now is I want to even out all of the episodes in the games I've played. Currently, they're off because when I started them out of order. But now what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll record them out of order until all of the series that I have on the channel are at the same episode level. And they're going to be the same until one of them ends. So currently, I think they're all around 5 or 6 or 8. But I'm going to record them out of order to then even them out so they'll all pretty much be on the same episode. That way it's just more convenient for me when I'm making them. That was Tuesday. Wednesday, after work today, I got gas, played Helldivers, showered, recorded RoboQuest, and watched another episode of Pluto. Let me see. Yeah, and then the quote is, I feel a bit lost and empty, but it's okay. Yeah, that's how it is. Okay, so Thursday, I think, did I record Thursday? I don't know if I recorded. I'm looking at the entry. The Thursday says, today, doctor, work, Jimmy John, lesson, kickball, Helldiver, and that's it. It's just I wrote words down because I was like, I don't want to, totally forget about what happened on Thursday. Yeah, so Thursday, I went to the doctor before work. Technically, I had an appointment with behavioral health. I can't remember. I remember I was there. He was explaining what he is and does, and it was kind of like, yeah, he said he couldn't prescribe anything. I can't remember technically what his exact title is, whether it was psychiatrist or therapist or whatever. But yeah, so that was an appointment with behavioral health. And he was pretty much trying to see if there was a mental component to my stomach problem, quote unquote stomach problem. And I was explaining the situation to him, and I was explaining my life to him, and everything was just pretty good. Which is, it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's very reassuring. Because, like, obviously, I do have some friends with depression, some that struggle much more than I do with it, assuming I even have depression in the first place. Um, and he was like, okay, so like, how's your life? What's your job like? Are you doing good at your job? Do you have friends? Are you whatever, whatever? Are you happy, sad, tired, whatever? And I was like, yeah, I've got friends and I've got a good job. And he was like, how are you with adulting? And I was like, I'm doing good. I get groceries. I feed myself. Um, and like when I was saying all of this out loud to him, it just felt like I closed the journal. It just felt like I didn't have any problems, hardly at all. He was like, because like one of the things was like I don't feel super motivated to pursue, my life, a sort of higher purpose in life. And then he did mention that, like I told him that, and he was like, yeah, that sounds like it's based in anxiety, which is what I think as well. Because I'm so scared to do the wrong action that I end up taking no action. But of course, no action feels just as bad as taking the wrong action. So I know that I just need to keep trying things, and then I'll feel better. And I've found that to be true. So that's what I just need to do. Um, so yeah, he was like, yeah, it seems like you don't have a huge anxiety thing. You don't have a huge depression problem. Like I said, I feel like, and he was like, um, do you feel like, and the doctor asked this too, he said, do you feel like you experience a lot of stress or anxiety in your life? And I was like, I think I go through the normal amount. Nothing crazy. Uh, and he was like, yeah, it seems like you're just dealing with, regular problems and stress and anxiety that people around your age deal with. And I was like, yeah. And then like I did mention to him how sometimes anxiety will kill my appetite. And I brought up an example at UMKC on audition day. I was not hungry because I was just so anxious. He was like, "Yeah, that sounds." He was like, "Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds normal." Um, and I was like, "Yeah." So I think there's no, like, it's not like he was like asking questions if it were an eating disorder, and he was like, "Okay, it does not seem to be an eating disorder, which is good." Um, but yeah, so I think the ruling is it probably is, while it can be influenced and affected by mental, stress, the root cause is probably not mental. Which is good, because that if it were a mental problem, I think that'd be a lot harder to solve than if it were a physical problem. And then also, I got lab results back from, they took my blood and they did a thyroid panel or whatever, tested for stuff there. The only thing out of the ordinary was T3. My T3 levels were higher than usual, slightly higher than the normal range. And then I looked at the notes from the doctor, and he said T3 levels are higher than normal. However, this is having only higher T3 levels is a variation of normal in young men, meaning that could not be like out of the ordinary or bad or unusual at all. I was like, well, shoot. So I'm stumped. Um, yeah, I told them my main problem now is I have trouble telling when I'm hungry or full. Um, and that's kind of it. Other than like just, yeah, big stressful events will kind of kill my appetite as well, which doesn't ultimately end up being that bad. Um, but yeah, so that was all the doctor stuff. I don't know what to do, but again, like I said, it really doesn't bother me that much. And now that I think about it, I'm like, oh wait, when was the last time it got really bad? I can't even remember. I think it was UMKC. I was just super kind of nauseous and anxious that day, just because I was anxious. Um, yeah, so on Thursday I went to the doctor, and that was the ruling on that. I went to work. After work, I went to Jimmy John's. I think, yeah, I remember talking about this on Thursday. I'm pretty sure I did a video on Thursday, a daily report on Thursday. Holy crap, I've been recording for 40 minutes already? Oh my god. Oh, wait, yeah, because I did the whole Minecraft bit. Anyway, yeah, so there was a Jimmy John's nearby to lessons. I stopped there. That was all well and good. After lessons, I went to kickball with my new friend. who, like I said, I'm not giving them a name until I feel like they are solidified as a part in my life, right? That's the way it works. Is you're not my friend until you are a constant kind of force or person in my life. Um, Period. That's how that goes. So I won't give them a nickname yet because I don't know if they are, a permanent. Because like the way it works for me is if you're my friend, you're supposed to be my friend forever. Um, that's how I see friends. Of course, obviously, friends can come and go, but ideally, I only call someone my friend if they're going to be my friend forever. Anyway, so I don't know if I'll give them a nickname yet. But yes, I went to the kickball game. That was a lot of fun. We just hung out. People were drinking and smoking and doing whatever. It was cool, I guess. And then I played Mission Helldivers, and that was Thursday. Friday, today, work, shower, younger sister's birthday, movie good, drinked, uh, and that was Friday. So on Friday, I had work. After that, I took a shower. I went to my younger sister's birthday. Um, she wanted espresso martinis for her birthday, so we all had one. And I drank it very quickly. And I don't know how strong it was, but I was definitely feeling it. I was definitely at least tipsy, maybe possibly drunk at the dinner table. However, you guys know I'm low key and chill, so I don't think anyone actually noticed that I was, but I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. And then after that, I saw Project Hail Mary with Ink. I was originally going to go last week with my new friend, and then they had to cancel. And my family kept talking about it at the dinner table, and I was like, well, gosh darn it, it's so, everyone's making it sound really good, I've got to see it. So I hit up Ink, and then we went after younger sister's birthday to see Project Hail Mary in theaters. It is so good. It's such a good movie. You should see it. It's life-changing a good movie, right? Um, and that was Friday. Saturday has a very similar format where it's just words that are written down. So it says today, breakfast pizza, work, Helldiver, Rowdy's birthday, drink, sig, so much fun, taquitos, revival. Taquitos and then a revival. Yeah, so Saturday was Rowdy's birthday party. So I had the breakfast pizza, which was quite good. It was very good. I can't remember exactly what was on it. It was kind of like chicken bacon ranch, but like not. But yeah, it was a frozen breakfast pizza I got earlier in the week, and I had most of it. Um, and it was really good. I ended up eating the whole thing that day, just not all in one sitting. And then Saturday, I went to work for a few hours to help set up the new break room. It's not 100% finished yet, but it will be soon. We worked on that Saturday. And then I played a little bit of Helldivers. Then I went to Rowdy's birthday party. I had a few drinks, had a few cigarettes. It was a lot of fun. Um, I can't remember. Nothing like super eventful happened. It was just a good fun party. Um, yeah, we had drinks and cigarettes. And then after that, on the way home, I got taquitos from QT, and then I just had some water. Cause like I drank a lot. I drank a lot. Well, a lot by my standards. I actually I looked. I was like, wait, how much did I actually drink? Cause to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm drinking so much. This is crazy. I only had 4 drinks in the 5 hours that I was there, um, which really doesn't sound like a lot. 4 drinks over the course of 5 hours. To me, it was a lot, but I did the math. I was like, I had this and this and this and this, and I was like, yeah, that's only 4 drinks. I had two hard monsters, which are each 6%. If a standard drink is 4%, like a 4% can of beer, then each of those would equal 1.5 drinks. So two monsters, two hard monsters is 3 drinks, and I also had a Smirnoff Ice. Those things might be 5%, but that's like barely more than 1 drink. So yeah, pretty much 4 drinks over the course of the night, and then I only actually smoked one whole cigarette myself, and then I was just hitting others that people had on them. Like I said, we're all friends, so like I would literally just reach for my friend's cigarette and then take it and then hit it and then give it back to him, because we're friends. So I did that. I was doing that as well. And then yeah, that was after that. I sobered up, and then I went to QT, got a couple taquitos. Came back, drank some water just to make sure I didn't get a hangover. Because, like I said, I was sober at that point, of course. But I was like, I'll drink water just in case. So that's where the word revival comes from. Was I just had taquitos and water, and it was good. And that leads us to today, which you have already heard about and I've already gone over. Um, Pew pew. And yeah, I believe that's everything. Um, I don't know. I'm thinking right now, my brain is saying we should totally do another give up week next week. I think that would be good for us. I think that would be good for our health. And I was like, I don't know, because the part of my brain is like, bro, relax, be realistic. We just need to relax for a second and think about our lives. And then part of my brain is like, no, we need to try harder. We need to be more productive and stuff. Like I said, I was gonna do try harder week after I give up week, but I was like, what if I just do give up week until I feel like I find a bit more direction in my life? Uh, yeah, because try harder week is like a little bit challenging. Um, and yeah, because like I think the hardest thing is if I do try harder week next week, I will have to practice both instruments Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, which is quite the challenge I have found. And also it's 11:40. It's just past my bedtime, and I gotta go to bed now. Um, Man, I'm probably gonna be up till like 12 because I still gotta put all this together and then upload it. Gosh darn it. Yeah, so I don't know. Next week could be Try Harder Week, and it could be Give Up Week Part 3, because this is Part 2. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be a normal week. You never know. Anyway, I think that's everything. Actually, no. Hold on. Ooh, yeah, hold on, maybe? I don't know. I got another kind of deodorant. And I was in my head, I'm like, Asher, come on, what are you thinking? You can't use deodorant. That stuff kills you. And what I mean by that is that I have talked about this before. Um, I'm pretty sure I'm just allergic to a lot of deodorants or whatever is in them. So they usually cause redness, dryness, irritation, breakouts, infections, whatever. I have this whole thing called the deodorant saga, which I've referred to but never explained. And I think it's old enough now, I think I'm comfortable explaining it. But of course, not right now because we're out of time. But I did get a new deodorant this week, and it's actually working. The thing is that it's $15, and that's only 3 ounces, meaning it's about 50% more expensive than a regular deodorant, and you only get about half as much. In the whole thing, I went on this whole arc earlier in the Chronicle where I was like, I'm trying to find a deodorant that works and is affordable. This works, it's not very affordable. Because, like I said, it's half the amount for 50% more money. But it smells so good, guys. It's this Paradise Coconut Old Spice All Day Freshness Sensitive Skin deodorant. Aluminum free, dermatologist tested, sensitive skin fragrances. Um, and they made a matching body wash. They call it skincare deodorant is what it was being advertised as. And yeah, it's working. It smells good. It doesn't cause any dryness or breakouts or irritation. But it is $15 for 3 ounces of it. So goodness gracious, that stuff is expensive. That's like $5 per ounce. Now that I actually think about it and do the math in my head, did it really say 3 ounces on it? It's deodorant, so it doesn't weigh much. But yeah, 3 ounces. Yep, that's $5 per ounce of deodorant. I'll talk about. I might talk about the deodorant saga next week. But yeah, I got no new deodorant, and miraculously, it is working. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I will see you next week. Bye.